dig into. Even a towel, you know.
All right,
If you
so
have like an old thing.
you
But I
reckon,
guess it's not.
you reckon a blanket?
Yeah.
All right.
But just something small.
Oh, this old
Oh,
blanket
okay.
can work, man.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this is actually very nice looking. I mean, looking at least. I don't know what it sounds like.
I got the tuning kit here. How much space do you need? Is this big or is this small?
It's big, but that's cool. You can just leave it folded up. Then.
Like half this? Or what?
Yeah, even half that. So what I would recommend is facing the wall. It will save space because then you just have to come to the kit instead of walking around.
Oh, okay, I see.
And it might also help with the sound because it's immediately hitting the wall.
All right, got you. Understood.
Yeah.
So this goes right against it. All right.
Cool. So bass drum first, and I guess while is it recording? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So while we're setting up, we might as well also talk about setup and how to be comfortable at the kit.
Yeah.
Should we worry about tuning now as well? Look,
yeah,
I'm going to do a quick
We're
one.
going to have to tune anyway.
Yeah.
And I got my keys over here.
Oh, you got a key. Okay, I brought one for you just in case.
Oh, here's a chair.
Okay.
All right, so what goes where?
Okay, let's... So I think I'll just tune it and I'll talk you through.
Alright, are there
So-
like special names for this shit? I mean, this
For
is
all
just
these
a
little
kick
pieces.
drum,
This is, yeah.
obviously.
So these are tuning lugs. Okay.
Alright,
Tuning carefully.
so this is just for tension.
Yeah, so the first thing you want to do, you see if we push in the middle, you can see these wrinkles around the edge. So I think the first basic thing is to just eliminate those wrinkles. And you want to try not make it want to warp. So you're going to go from one end and then the other, and then this like line is
Similar
settled.
to a car tire. Like you don't do it
Yes, exactly.
clockwise, you do it.
Yeah, because you want it to fit. As even with it can. And then basically after that, we'll listen a bit to see that it's basically.
Is it by ear or?
Yeah.
Because
But you can also like feel it,
Because being a guitarist, it's like we use an app to tune. So
No,
this is just
no,
like-
but you see, yeah.
There's no pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no
I mean,
pitch.
there might be, but you can definitely hear high, low, low. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So where it's lower, you want to tighten it a bit.
Yeah. And like a guitar, you want to tune up. So,
Okay.
instead of finding all the high spots and turning it down, you're going to find the low spots and tune it up. And then, because these lugs are opposite from each other, it might be that if you hear a low one, it might be the other side that's lower. It could be. But because I'm checking that's not lower, this is lower. Now, is this one perhaps very low that I'm hearing this as lower than this, And just always check in the middle, am I getting like a clean sort of tone? And at the moment it's quite wobbly, but it's getting there. So you hear that one's quite a bit of it. And at the moment I'm not like going very specifically like one tone, half tone or anything, I'm just trying to fire it.
It's interesting that you applied so much pressure, like I'd be shit scared.
No, you can absolutely, because I mean all the, well, obviously not this side of the kit, but you know, all the skins are supposed to be smacked, you know, so they are built to
take some pressure, because I don't know.
So I mean, this is like you don't want to get it to a nice tuning, but then it's still a fresh skin, so it still needs to like settle. Yeah. So you want to do that immediately.
It's gonna take me a while to hear.
Yeah, it does. But I think it's definitely fine for now.
And you don't have to. What's the other side? You don't do anything this side.
No, you do a lot. Generally, I think I'm not gonna. I mean, because it's quite a science to talk about the relationship between the bottom and the top head. But just generally speaking, we're gonna tighten the resonant side higher than the front side, because so the side that you hit is generally the sort of note you're going to get, the sort of fundamental tone, and then this is generally speaking the effects of resonance and the decay, basically. So the higher it is, the shorter the note is going to last.
Okay. How come there's no hole here?
Well, this is the side you're hitting.
Oh, so
the hole would be the other end. But
there isn't though.
No, there isn't, and that's fine. Actually, let's just hear something. Yeah. So the hole just lets the air escape, and it just that's more common for music that needs like a super thumpy, not a lot of tone kind. So if we had just left that, you know, flat as it was, and had a hole and a cushion inside, it would just give that like, you know, without any. But for us, we do want a bit of tone.
Okay, so this is the side you hit.
Yeah.
But then why were you tuning the other side? Like,
because if it's both. Yeah. So if the other side is too loose, it's gonna move. The air is gonna, you know, obviously move, and that's gonna affect the sound. So if it's too loose, it's gonna sound. You're gonna hear it.
Okay.
You know. Let's not get
too technical.
So, what would be nice is, because there's no cushion or like blanket inside, just to muffle it a bit, we can put some like tissue or toilet paper over here and stick it on just to.
Trap the resonance.
And so because this is the side that you're hitting, so it's going to get a lot more worn out quicker. You can really settle it in, you know.
All right.
mean, do you hear that that pitch dropped quite a bit from what it was just before?
How often do you have to tune?
I mean, it depends, you know, what you want. Like, it's not super necessary to tune time, especially if this kid's going to stay here.
Yeah.
You know, when you move it to, if you were gigging with it and you're moving it to different venues and the room is obviously different, maybe, I don't know if you can, if that's similar to the way you work with an amp. Perhaps in different rooms you need to adjust the tone, you know. So,
well, I would imagine that would, different rooms equal different environments, different humidities, different temperatures, then it will go out of tune.
exactly. I'm just going to get some.
And I suppose when you travel, the rattling of the car, all of that can
It's the same as
mess with the tuning.
piano. Or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't have to worry about tuning it. But I mean, basically, you know, it depends how much you play it. You know, the more you play it, the more things are going to shift.
Alright, so now you're taping some.
Just to dampen a little bit. Where is the bass drum? So I am trying to tune more for a jazz sound.
Okay.
So that's why I'm tuning it a bit up.
So the jazz sound is more up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming like the rock is a bit more lower.
Yeah, because jazz you're using the bass drum almost just as much as another tom, you know.
That's
It's
interesting.
functional like a snare drum and a tom is. So with rock and pop, the bass drum and the snare drum act as like the timekeeper, you know, as like the indicator of the pulse. And
Like
just,
1 and 3.
Yeah. And with jazz, it's the ride that does that.
Okay.
The ride is smashing, and
That's
snare,
the timekeeper.
Yeah.
But I was told that the swing is also on the ride.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
So what that means is the bass drum and the snare drum now are not filling that function. So it's trying to. I mean, depending on the genre as well. Like if it's big band swing, the bass drum will have a little bit more to do with keeping the pulse, you know.
Yeah.
But generally, in like a bebop sort of setting, it's just used to like comment on the music, if that makes sense.
So it's not like you have to be like on the one every time.
But we'll start learning to play like that.
Well, that's the shortcut that we spoke about. I need to go straight to the music.
Right, exactly.
Alright, so these things are legzoid.
Yeah, I don't know why they are the same shape. You would want them to be, you know, opposite.
Opposite.
That is strange.
Unless
Unless they
there's-
want you to go in different directions.
Maybe I should have waited for you to unpack, because I just
No, well, I mean,
unpacked and laid everything out.
if you see another one of these, then tell me. But I doubt there would be another one.
So generally, is it just two?
Yeah.
Two legs. Yeah, then it probably is that.
Okay. That's very strange. I don't know if that's going to work. It's going to have to. No. Okay. I don't know. How this is going. Okay, you might want to then just go back and tell Tom's that that's the case, but I'm assuming they had it all in a sealed sort of package. So that
Well, it was on the floor, and all
like
this,
out in the open, like
yeah,
this.
yeah. So all the drums were stacked, and then the stands and stuff was on the floor.
If
in front of it.
they had another
Kit,
Tama, you know, like maybe close by that
we can just have a
that
look
also
at.
had, maybe they just muddled them up, you know.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Let me make a note of that. I can just. I'm also hoping that there's no other stuff missing, you know?
Mhm.
Alright.
So you want so that one's the right one for where it is, and this one needs to be the opposite.
Okay,
So I guess you can
this
say
is-
you're missing the left side leg.
Got it? Alright.
Okay, maybe I can ask you to do some of the other stuff so that you get used to
Sure.
feeling what the stuff does. Let's put the bass drum pedal on. So firstly you're going to clip those into the corresponding holes. You see where that's going?
Alright, so it goes in there.
Yeah.
Do you ever need to just like oil the chain?
Yeah, sometimes.
So I need
but
like
it shouldn't be, shouldn't need to do it anytime soon.
Alright.
Cool, then, so that
Adjuster.
key is to adjust the, this. So first slide it into the bass drum. So it's just going to clip onto there.
Oh, okay.
Please slide it in as far as it goes, because and then
Okay, so that
yeah,
clip.
so that's like on.
Okay.
And now you just want to tighten it to make sure it's not loose, but yeah, that seems pretty good. Okay, then
I need the hammer.
the hammer.
Or what do you call it?
The beater.
The beater. I was going for mallet.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I suppose mallet is safer than hammer.
yeah. So that you'll just pop in here.
So I'm guessing this key is like super important.
Yeah.
Like, do not lose this key.
No.
How often do you lose your keys?
Myself, I don't lose them too much.
It's not like a guitar
it's
pick
not
or
like
something.
No.
Because it's used for tuning, it's used for your mallet.
Yeah, but unlike a pick, you're not playing with it, so
Yeah.
it's not that. It only feels a bit strange because of this leg situation. Cool, that's fine.
So by it moving, it shouldn't move. Is that why we have the cockpit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just for yourself, you might want to fiddle with this tension. So that's the spring. So if you take it up and then push it down, and then loosen the other end, it just makes it loose or tighter. I would recommend it goes slightly looser, so you're not working too hard
That's the tension on the
spring.
Okay, so that
How tightly
I see what you're saying.
it's being pulled. Or how tightly it's pulling back.
This pedal, can I use this on an electronic kit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the beater picks it up.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
Okay, that's
the
dope.
pedal's a pedal.
So if I find an electronic kit that's for sale without a pedal, then I'll be fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Okay.
What's
so
next?
Let's
What are these stands?
that'll be for the cymbals. Oh no! There we've got the throne, the seat.
Oh, just the throne.
So let's do that next because
Why does it seem like it's kind of weird?
it's
This is
very weird. I
upside.
think this should come out and go up there, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah, then it. I've got a spare throne at home, but this one seems a bit better than the one I have at home.
Yeah, this does actually seem very sturdy. You always want the ones that twist like that instead of clamp, because then you can. It's always going to last longer. The clamps at some point is going to wear, but this,
Well, I haven't seen one. So these ones you say with a twisty thing.
Mm. Okay, so have a seat.
On the throne!
Yeah.
King of the throne!
Okay, so that looks like
High.
a good height for me.
Oh,
Now, you sort of, just a standard sort of rule is you sort of want this angle to be just above 90. 90's the right angle.
yeah.
So you want it sort of just a little bit above. The lower you are, the more work it's going to be to
I see what you're
lift your
saying. I
legs.
see
You know
what
what I
you're
mean? But if you're
So with that said, I've got about a 90, just above 90 now.
Yeah, it's you could go a little bit higher, but if you feel comfortable, that's cool. Do you feel comfortable?
Well, I thought this was high.
Okay, no, then
No,
that's
no.
fine. No. So let's leave it like that for now.
Let's check. So we got that 100-degree-ish angle.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know. So,
Okay, so the other
so
thing,
I'll adjust,
the other thing to think about is specifically for jazz because it's not a loud genre in general. The bass drum and the hi-hat pedal, you're not going to be smashing, so you're not all the time, most of the time, you're not going to be playing with your leg, but with the ankle. Okay. So, and what that means is you'll find the closer your feet are to your inwards towards you, the harder it is to use your. So, like, just try to use your ankles right there, like, you know, this way. Like, that's sort of impossible. The further away it is, you know, it's a lot easier. So, and that means that the higher you sit, the closer your legs can be to you and still feel easy to move, right? So that's just something to think about. So for now,
okay,
at this
so
height,
basically,
find
like
that
you're basically saying I shouldn't play here, right? Because my legs are not too far from the beater.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So that's
for
what
sure.
you're saying.
That is what I'm saying. So come a little closer, but if you come right up and you're still sitting very low, it's going to be very hard. Yeah, you definitely don't want your knee past like your ankle.
Yeah, I can feel because I can't even touch the heel.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
just find the ideal sort of place for.
I guess yeah.
Okay, that feels good for now.
What I like about this kick, it's not boomy, man. You know, I was worried about the neighbors, but
Yeah.
they're not gonna hear a damn thing.
I mean that's. Yeah, I think that's a perfect sound.
And it's usually the kick that travels because the higher
Yes.
frequencies die faster than
exactly.
than the lower.
But that's also why we're tuning it up. I mean, not really why, but that's part of the reason why it's sounding quite soft, you know?
Okay, so as far as the throne is concerned,
I think it's
we're
lack.
done there.
Okay, so now let's set up the snare stand and the hi-hat stand. You can try the hi-hat stand because it's quite a bitch.
I actually didn't
So
know.
that's
Is that one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the one with the pedal.
Yeah.
Right, so
Cool. So just before you lock it, just make sure this dude isn't sitting lower than any of the other legs. Just so it's not off balance. I mean, it's the same like with a mic stand. Some oaks sometimes have the middle part like all the way to the floor.
Yeah.
That sort of loses the balance. So I always just check
That it's
as
a bit
soon
up.
as it hits there. That's fine.
Okay.
So now it's
we
very
assume-
sturdy, right?
Okay.
Then similar to the
We've got these hooks.
bass drum, yeah.
The holes are.
Oh, they're right down at the bottom.
Ah, okay. It's in this horseshoe type of thing.
Cool. Now you would want to try and match the tension of that to the bass drum. And but now
the tension?
some cheaper hi-hat stands don't have a way to change the tension, and I don't think this one
has.
But it's cool. It's fine for now.
Okay, so I'm assuming that there's a cable
Yeah. So
that runs
yeah.
through.
Okay, so you're gonna attach this here and screw it in.
Man, you guys have to do this at every gig, man.
Yeah, that's why it takes us so long. I always have to get there like 15 minutes before everyone else.
15?
Yeah,
Well,
dude, just to be safe.
This looks like an hour job to me, man. Well, I suppose with practice. Yeah.
Okay. What am I looking for?
But I suppose stuff is partly assembled. When you go to...
Yeah,
I mean, you wouldn't take this pipe off.
No, I would myself.
Oh.
Just because I don't want to be carrying it in, a hardware bag, and because everything's so tall that you don't want things to accidentally snap,
Okay.
while you're carrying it
see.
around and
I see.
throwing it in the car, you know.
Snap.
So I would generally take this out
Out.
and off, and then keep it inside itself like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing is to put that. So sit how you feel comfortable at the bass drum.
I feel like I'm a bit to the left.
Okay, it can also be a bit back. Okay, now the hi-hat pedal is going to match, you know, with your left leg, so you're not going to have, you know, your bass drum pedal here and your hi-hat pedal like here or here, or, you know, it's going to be try and make it as even as possible for comfort.
Okay.
But then, and then the other thing to think about is you're not actually facing the bass drum. We always think we are, but you're actually facing the snare drum that's going to be in the middle.
Okay.
So that just means with your torso, you know. So don't feel you have to align yourself in front of the bass drum and then this thing's off to the side.
Okay.
It's not. So
well, it's hard to visualize now,
yeah.
because I'm trying to figure out where would the snare
I
be.
think we might gonna have to move this
Carpet.
carpet, but even if it's just out of the way of the.
Well, what I can do is I can unfold it and then lay it along that way.
Should we do that?
And then we can extend it, and then
Let's maybe do that,
the excess will go under the bed.
Okay.
This is the benefit of having an old ass blanket that you don't really care about in summer as well, so you know.
Yeah.
The bed can also play a role here.
Yeah, that's good.
Alright.
Cool. Okay, so again, before you
Just get
Just
acquainted
like-
with the
just find your comfort at the bass drum.
Yeah.
Cool. So now just make sure the left leg is in the same sort of angle as your right, and same like distance away from your seat, basically. But you can almost do that visually with the pedal that it's gonna, it's gonna sort of be in line like that. So I'm just gonna lift this thing. Okay, so how does that feel to play in both? We might, just because we're putting a snare drum in the middle, have to move this slightly to the side.
I see
But it
what you
can
say
still
in terms
match.
of tension, like
Are you feeling this one's a bit
heavier.
heavier? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's fine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
probably get used to it.
Yeah.
It's like driving a car, you know, the clutch is
Yes,
heavier than
exactly,
the-
exactly. So just because we're going to have to put a snare drum in the middle, we might have to shift this to the side, and all that will mean is making the sort of gap wider, but still keeping some form. But let's leave it there for now because it's comfortable, and try to put the snare drum in the middle. So that's this, and then this part. That should actually fit.
Oh, I'm being such an idiot.
What?
Of course, man, the snare has its own stand. So it's
Oh,
the
I
toms. So I just thought like everything branches off.
Oh no.
Like I thought there's this like central unit that just like has the two tones and then.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Moron. Well, I suppose that's why we're having this lesson. So I can learn. I've got a practice pad at home.
Oh, do
my
you?
Parents' place. I'll bring it next time.
What does it look like? What is it made of?
Like plastic. It's not a rubber.
Okay. Is it like this sort of plastic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing.
Okay.
But this thing looks better quality.
Does it? Okay, then I brought it for you, so
Oh, okay.
let's
Sick.
just have it. Yeah.
I can use it, you say?
Yeah.
Awesome,
definitely.
man. Awesome, thank you.
So, with the snare stand, right? So we've got this part that makes it, adjust up and down.
Yeah.
Then we've got this thing that adjusts for the angle. Okay. So you always want this thing that adjusts for the angle to be placed so that it adjusts forward and back. You don't need it, going to the side at all. You just need it to either come further down, depending on what you think is comfortable.
Okay, you talk about the angle of the snare.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to place it so that it does that. Now, if I'm doing it this way, the legs are getting sort of in the way. So if I do it this way, it's now sort of facing, and it's comfortable.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, but now maybe I'll ask you to put the snare drum on and everything. Okay, let's first tune it.
Tune this thing.
Let's first tune it. Okay, so again you want to tune the bottom as well. So I'm just doing that so that I don't hear the rattling of the...
Okay.
Do you want to do it? So just tap next to each lug. And before you decide on, okay, this one's a little bit lower, just check.
So this one sounds lower.
Yeah, exactly. So now, but before you decide to tune this up, just see, is this being affected by this one?
So
okay, no, it
this
can't.
sounds even lower, higher.
Yes, exactly. So this one definitely needs to be tuned in relation to these two. But then the last thing to check is this one super low?
There's my ears that are
Yeah.
me now.
So you want to
So
try listen to
this
the...
sounds higher than that.
Yeah, I think they might actually be the same, but the rest of it's affecting. But anyway, so this will go up a bit.
Definitely goes up. So then you just turn it.
Yeah, that's good enough for now.
Okay.
So that one can go up. So did you see how that affected?
Exactly, I heard that.
For the snare, the resonance side can go very high because of how you want this to react with the skin. So you don't want the snare wires, which are going to buzz from this, moving when you hit the other side, to be rattling on something that's loose.
Okay.
Okay. And I can even feel like these are still very loose. They still have a long way to travel. So because we got it in a sort of, everything was fairly in tune, I'm just going to take it all up.
This one sounds a bit lower there.
That one's a bit lower. Did you hear that?
I heard it to be a bit higher.
Well, then that one, yeah.
That one definitely a bit lower.
So like when I'm checking, you know, what does this sound like now, then I'm immediately going to check the opposite side. Okay, but that's good enough for now. And then the other side.
The hitting side.
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually. Okay, yeah, this is so like this one's lower than this one, right? This one's, yeah. That one.
That's lower than this.
Okay. You can carry on. But now, but so because we've been working on these,
work on another one.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's more or less equal.
Can go.
Same.
Cool, yeah.
And then go to this one now. Sounds fine to me.
Yeah. And
then this one. Alright, what's next? This one.
That one can, yeah, go to the next one.
Because I now heard it's all tight.
Yeah.
It's like
I think these two can go up a bit. So the overall thing is now actually, yeah, pretty close. Like that's sort of one tone, just about. But now we can just listen. Yeah. I think it can still go up a bit.
Did you take the snare, the stick out? Yeah. Okay.
I think it, just my personal preference would be to take it. So now, because it's in, it's sort of in tune, do all of them the exact same tune. Yeah, tone. So just do like a full turn, I would say.
A full turn?
Yeah. So in other words, yeah, just like that.
Oh, that was like a 180.
Yeah. I think people call that a half turn. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you went
there, and then
here. Yeah, that's cool that you want to hear that because it's still a new skin. Yeah. Opposite. And then these two. So once it's like in the register that you want, then you can do the same thing of if there are any notes that are higher, but you don't want to tune the rest to match it any more up, then find the ones that are a bit higher and just push them to release some of the tension. Just for argument's sake, this one might be slightly higher, so I'll just, you know. Okay, that's cool for now. So, yeah, you put it in. So what you want to check is just that, you know, these, the holders aren't like messing with the...
Is there a way to tighten it?
Yeah, yeah. This thing over here. Cool, but that's perfect. Okay, so now sit back, just double check that yeah. We'll also dampen it a bit.
Yeah, the snare is louder than the KK.
Yeah, but we'll dampen it down. Okay. So, are you still comfortable with the pedals? Okay, wait. So
but I
just
feel like lifting up. I suppose I should.
Yeah. No,
my heel.
no. You must. So then
my heel must be planted.
Yeah. So then just either seat can go up a bit or you go further back.
Yeah. I am 6'3" now, so.
No, that's perfect. You know what? You can put that seat up a bit.
What do you mean up like that?
I mean like higher.
Oh, okay.
To help.
Yeah, but this feels good.
Okay. Just be certain that it feels good. Don't compromise. So
okay.
Setting it up to
me,
fall.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just want to see something. Cool. So you're thinking, yeah, this is perfect. So you're thinking about facing the snare, and these are equidistant from the center. If that makes sense. Now, just rest your arms by your side. Perfect posture, man. This is excellent. So many students are like, a slouch or whatever. That's a perfect posture. Now, so we just want to find the ideal. I mean, that looks pretty good where it is right now. So just lift from your elbow to sort of, parallel with the floor. And yeah, making sure. I mean, that's perfect. Just making sure you're not, moving your arms forward or back or anything. That it's resting as comfortably as possible. And most of the movement, at least for the snare, is just going to come like this. Okay. So first I'll put the sticks in your hand. Just put the sticks down again. So just find this very neutral, easy spot. Okay. Cool. Just grab gently like that. Perfect. So I might say the snare can come up a little bit.
Okay. In terms of height.
Yeah. Cool. Now, if we had to, actually, I think I will draw a little. Do you have a permanent marker? Yeah. Cool. So just keep checking in with yourself when you have the sticks, because this should be perfectly equidistant from both hands, right?
Okay.
So you
The
shouldn't.
center
Yeah.
snare.
So you shouldn't have to feel like to reach the center, one arm is further back or forward than the
That
other.
sort of thing.
Right.
Okay.
So just check. Okay, when the sticks are. Yeah. Okay, so we're lifting up. Got the sticks in the hands at that sort of position. Just let them naturally find each other at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
The tips of the stick. And just see, okay, so now if you find the center, if you can rest there, do you feel like one arm is compensating, or do they feel even?
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty even.
Cool. So we'll leave that snare there. I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Let's put the hi-hats on the hi-hat stand. Okay, I think these are the same. So we're going to put. Did you see where that cut changed up?
Okay, here's one. And I'm assuming it's the these are the simple stands.
Yeah.
How wide do you extend these? Because I'm looking at space and I'm just starting to get worried.
I mean, so obviously the wider it is,
The
unless
more-
it's ridiculously wide, the more steady it's going to be. But you're not going to, yeah, that's definitely fine.
Okay.
Let's just quickly check now the height of the hi-hat in relation to the snare. So you want to be able to, because we've found that, so just check this thing will slip because it's on the carpet. So just always make sure it's coming, you know, it's not slipping too far away.
Okay.
So we don't want to mess with this now because it's in a good space for you. So just check if you play like a basic 4/4, you know, pop groove. That all you need to do is move this right hand here, and it doesn't feel like it's affecting everything else. And it's at a comfortable height. Okay. But I mean that looks like it's.
Doops, cuts, doops, cuts.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2. Wait, what did you do?
Okay.
What did you
Yeah.
do?
No, ready? Hold on. Yeah, just check. You know, when you move your right hand to the hi-hat, do you feel like there's enough space between the hi-hat, your right hand, and your left hand to play?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So.
I'm just seeing that the snare is closer to this leg than it is that leg. So I'm just going to move it slightly. Okay. I think that's comfortable where it is. Huh?
I mean, I'm not going
No.
to play like that.
Exactly.
You know.
No. Okay, then this thing, you want these guys to rest open from each other, and you'll close them obviously. So just find when you play the bass drum pedal, like how much are you moving your foot up and down?
Okay, I see.
And then try to get an equal sort of space with the hi-hat pedal.
Yeah.
Right. Then tighten. Excellent. So yeah, if you were to just put them down in the same way, are they landing together?
That's first.
Okay, that's probably also because that one is a little looser than that pedal. So this can be.
I'm also seeing where I'm planting my heel.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Let me try and get it equal.
Okay. Cool.
I might be compensating, but I suppose it's more or less.
That's okay. You'll learn to do that. But so those could be maybe slightly, slightly smaller distance.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent.
I see what you're saying about the sound of these cymbals. Yeah.
Symbols are the one thing you can't.
I'll start saving for them. I'll start saving.
Cool. So this is, and how does it all feel comfortable still? Just keep checking it. Perfect. Let's put the floor tom. So the floor tom is going to just match this height. It's just going to be this, but on this side.
Okay. Is there a stand for it?
Well, it's going to use those legs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
These ones?
Yeah.
3 of them?
Yeah. So this was extremely loose, so it means that I'm tightening first with my fingers to get them as tight as I can with the fingers to get it even. And then I'm just going to remove the wrinkles.
Like some water, man, or something.
Yeah, that should be great. Some more. So you don't mind if I let you tune this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So
what's the rule with water and the kit? Do you
just don't leave the kit in the rain. That's don't stress.
Okay.
So just first start. First just tune the opposite lugs with your finger as tight as you can. But that's always a bit of a mission. So just come down here.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's going to ensure that, at least from the start, everything's pretty much at the same pitch.
I see. Okay.
Okay, cool. Then I think before, because it's still so loose, before you try tune it by ear, just go around. Opposites, each one like a full turn.
By full turn, you mean
like
360 or 180?
180.
out here doing oral training, man.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah, that's sounding pretty good. If I just pick it up. So so yeah, you always want this a little bit higher to make sure the sound doesn't decay, over like a minute.
Okay.
But you don't want it completely out of the register. So I think this is cool, and I think this can come up slightly. And just
Is
remember,
this the
I'm
side
doing
that you
this-
hit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So because everything's sort of even, just do like a quarter, like 90-degree turn on everything.
It's slightly nerve-wracking now.
Think it's gonna break.
Yeah, and you wanna do it in tune.
Right. Cool. I think that's fine for now, because we also want to at some point listen to the sort of note of all the drums in relation to each other. So that's cool. So now we can put the legs in. So we can just, this is the side we hit, right? Sorry. So we can just turn it over and then put the legs in like that.
And I suppose we don't have all left legs. Like the other thing. Oh, these ones stand out.
Because these are just gonna, forward, straight down. And then
Height
the
wise.
only thing you're gonna, the height and making sure that the angle of this thing is, and I guess just leave them all pointing away. Cool. So put it. So put it down to the right of the pedal, and then sit down and see.
Is it even?
Is it? Yeah. Cool. So it's a bit
low,
obviously.
So we raise it.
Yeah.
Okay, raised.
Okay, cool. Okay, so just sit back in position. So it's still slightly lower, but we're getting to like the limit of how high this thing can go.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take it to the limit. And then if it's still a bit lower, then I might suggest putting the snare drums just a little bit lower so that it's even, Cool. So just lower that snare drum just a tiny bit. No. The one,
this.
yes. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So if it wasn't for you, I would have probably be facing the other way.
Yes.
But then the kit will be here somewhere.
Exactly.
Because I need space to get there.
Cool. How does everything feel?
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish with the toms. Okay, I think I might suggest that because we're doing the jazz thing that we just put one tom up, but you can always put both up for fun.
Yeah.
So let's, but just because I want to do the setup for jazz, I'm just going to do one tom for now. But you can always just check on the other one for fun.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I'll make the suggestion that we put, because then I don't want to store it, because now I have to
Oh,
wrap
okay.
it again.
okay, cool.
And that's actually a good point. I don't have bubble wrap. So if it's on, then I don't have to stress about.
Yeah, then it's all just up.
I just won't use it because we're doing the jazz thing. Or which one do you use for the jazz thing then, if there's a difference? You use the high.
Either.
Or one or the other.
One or
not
the other,
both.
Yeah. Not traditionally.
Okay.
Okay, so. It's actually sounds alright from the.
Fine.
Have you got the key?
Probably should have the key. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, go for it.
What's the...
Yeah, but I think it's... Is that the top or bottom? Okay, cool. And let's just have a look at these memory locks, they're called. They should. You see there's a little gap here, and you got this memory lock here with a little raised there. So that's obviously designed to fit in there. So we're just going to find where that fits. Okay, so that's now.
Yeah.
So we're going to use this to, once we find where we want this to sit, but actually for now I'm just going to let it sit down a little. But once we're happy with the position of this, we're going to bring it back up in place and then block it. Make sure it stays in place. Okay, so obviously the first thing is just to try get them to be even with each other.
I was wondering about that. It's like, why is this one?
Right. So on here we're just going up and down, but we can also raise the entire thing from here or lower it.
Okay.
Now this, so I think I would want this to come a little bit in so that this guy's not sort of taking up all this space here, but it's sort of going to hit the snare drum at the moment. So I'm just going to twist it this way and then angle it in, and it'll be a bit further.
Remind me again what these do.
They're just gonna act as support to make sure it doesn't slip.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just purely it's a memory lock. That's what it's called.
Like a secondary lock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You've got the top one and the bottom one.
Okay, so you just want to check that. Obviously, you don't want this thing of them angling, outwards.
Where do you normally keep your reading stand? Do you keep it on this side?
Yeah, I do usually. Can also keep it on this side if we have space and if it's comfortable.
I think that there's more space on this side in general.
You know what I actually do is, because I sort of have a kit set up just for practicing, I don't have a crash.
Okay.
Because I'm just practicing simple stuff, and then I have it here. So you can choose to do that if you want. Okay, so I think
that's all I can play from observing.
Cool. Feel comfortable.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so let's do the ride, because that's the most important.
To think this floor was full of shit, man. Now it's like.
Oh yeah.
I remember there was screws in a packet. I don't know, somewhere. What are those for?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. No, I can't see it.
I mean,
But everything's working.
Alright, how does this thing work?
Okay, so you see the difference between this one and this one? Is this one's only going to be able to angle from where it's set up, so in other words, this one you're able to it's able to break apart and come out like that for just a little bit more control over.
Okay, so it's got like a swivel.
Yeah.
Okay.
This thing's just going to come out. So.
I see. So
because the position of the ride is super important, I'm going to use this just to make sure we're not limited.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
There goes in
Yeah, to be honest, it might just work out fine if I. So I can still use this the same way that gets used, but just it's a nice option to have. But it might actually just be fine to use it straight up.
Made in China. What's a good symbol to say for? There's an S word. So
Sabian?
Sabian.
Yeah, Sabian. I mean, all the brands are fine. Meinl, Siljan, Paiste.
But then there's ranges within
exactly.
the brands.
So
okay. You get the cheap ones and then the
yeah,
ones.
but also the rock ones or the jazz ones and.
So the ones with the holes in it.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't need that.
Okay.
For anything, but yeah, I guess you're just gonna listen to the symbols and
based on what
but
you
but,
like.
but there's but there's also like certain characteristics that you want in a jazz symbol versus
so
a
how
symbol.
height on like just more or less.
Yeah, but we'll adjust it all now. So let's start with the that can go in there. Let's start with the ride.
That's the right.
Yeah.
How do you?
But actually, you can swing it over that side.
Suppose you don't do it super tight because you.
No, you want it to move, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like asking a lot in my little place, man.
But this is perfect.
Now I got a whole fucking kit in here, man. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It is really. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to adjust it, but let's start with the ride. So again, just take your position at the snare, and is everything still? Okay. So all I want you to do, wait. So don't do that yet. Just keep your hands at the snare, super relaxed. Okay, at the snare. So right arm. Just twist your forearm to angle it this way. Okay, not so extremely. Just sort of in a like I want to shake your hand sort of angle.
Okay, what are you asking of me? So like
So like this.
and then you open it up.
Yeah. But first, just open it up without moving your the position of your arm. Okay, so just check. Okay, and your hand's gonna sort of act as a cradle.
Okay.
Your fingers are underneath, supporting the stick.
Mm-hmm.
All your fingers, not just the first fingers. Okay. Okay, then you're gonna, so just keep it exactly like that, that's perfect. So now just swivel from the elbow to sort of comfortable, yeah. So I'm gonna move it so that, cool, so you don't want your elbow straying too far away, that you're using the shoulder, you know what I mean?
This ride doesn't sound too terrible.
No, it actually doesn't.
It's the snare.
But I mean,
it's the hi-hat I don't like.
Yeah. I mean, this has got a single sound, which is nice.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is just make sure your elbow isn't having to, move forward to reach for the right. So you can just sort of swivel in the same manner. Okay, just pause it, freeze it. So I'm actually just going to change the angle of this thing. You want it to be sort of in line with how your stick is naturally sitting,
Okay.
So you don't want it like angled like that.
So you're going to raise it a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so that's at the angle. Because you don't really play on it, you just hit it every once in a while.
So now when
you just need to make sure you
reach
it, but don't stress too much. I mean, that should be just fine. Maybe it can come in a bit.
So the first thing I'm going to buy is a hi-hat and a crash.
Mm.
This ride is not too terrible. For what I
No. Okay, do you have, if you were to practice to music, do you have like headphones that you would use, or would you play something through the, I think I would recommend headphones or in-ears or something. Just so you're also not putting too much pressure on your ears, because the drums are loud.
Yeah, I do have something, but I'll play with I've got these. Fuck you, open these now. The earplugs.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I was looking for this memory card. And now I found it. You know when you find shit when you're not looking for it. Okay, but now I must remember this. Yeah. So I got the earplugs.
Okay, cool.
But I'll use a headset somehow so that I can obviously plug in a metronome or something. So is that the setup?
Yeah.
Everything is.
Let me just have to sit down myself.
Everything is done. I bought this thing, you can have a look.
USB with you? Actually, I have the USB. Because I've got stuff I want to give you.
Awesome.
Cool, yeah, that's the setup. So feel free to adjust things. But the rule is, does it fit with how, with your posture? Make sure your posture is cool, obviously. But don't let anything, slip off to the sides or come in too close that you're uncomfortable.
So now
that's the only thing you need.
Now that I don't have a hole in the back of the kick,
Mm.
and if I want to mic it up, do I bring in the mic from the front?
No, you would still take it from the back. Yeah, so obviously if you wanted to do recordings, I think you would have to bring the whole thing
the whole kit
out.
Okay.
But you might even be able to do that just by pulling the
the rug.
rug. But you would take it from that side.
Because I'll make it a mic set.
Cool.
So I can record
Mm.
the progress of.
Mm.
I mean, for now, I'll just use a center.
Do you have a? Yeah. I mean, just one.
Yeah, I'll just use I'll use one mic for now, but eventually I want to record. I need to get all of this, so I need to learn something more than that.
Okay, let me give you some stuff.
Some stuffs.
Do you? I mean, you obviously have jazz to listen to.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, anything that you can recommend.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's weird. Like, I'm a guitarist, but I listen more to wind guys.
Oh, okay.
I don't listen to guitarists at all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I put on now and again. I'll put a Schofield on, or.
Okay.
But I don't know like one jazz drummer's name, man. Shit.
Oh, that's fine.
What? You're probably gonna shoot me now, but is it a Billy Cobham? Someone?
Yeah, he's someone.
He's a drummer at least.
Yes.
Okay. Shit, man.
No, don't worry about that. The guys at the jam session don't say, okay. Just remind me who you're top.
Now, but I think like if there's a drummer that you want to reference, like if I were to learn saxophone, of course you're gonna have to check out some Coltrane and
yeah.
Trumpet is Miles.
No, of course.
Guitar, you have to go through Jim Hall, and Pat Metheny, Schofield. But I suppose I now need to listen to a drummer that I like. But I told you that I really want to drum like.
Who did you say? Yusuf.
Yeah, Yusuf Days.
Yeah.
He's the guy, man.
I mean, oh my goodness, yeah.
Good. The way he just plays, man. It's that double time shit that he likes.
Yeah, he's crazy. He smacks, eh? Yeah. Just be careful that you don't, try too hard to reach a certain level before, still, I mean, even though we're trying to fast track everything.
Yeah, my chops must grow naturally.
Yeah, organically.
I don't want to be like cooking at 300 ppm, but my foundation is
exactly.
is like flimsy. I hear you. I just want to be like 1 year from now, be convincing as a drummer.
Yeah.
I might even ask Witz if I can play in an ensemble.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Which means I have to, by February, I have to be able to do something in order to audition so I can get into a first year ensemble,
But you are taking performance, eh? I mean, like
guitar.
with guitars.
Yeah. And I'm gonna major in performance,
that'll be
so
quite
stressful.
Quite the same.
But we'll see, because I only have performance and I only have research. And my research is my performance. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, yeah.
So it's
like the same. Yeah, you're doing the same work.
I'm dropping composition.
Right. But now,
Composition.
are you doing that just because of this research? Or, I mean, you're not like...
Well, part. I mean, there's more than one reason to do it, right? So Jonathan offered to teach me guitar as well, which
okay.
a part of me, like, can't go to Vuma and say, "Hey, Vuma, you know, cheers, I'm going to Jonathan." So a way to manage that is to have them both. And the only way you can do it both is when you major in performance.
Yeah. Right. Okay, I see.
So now I can have 2 guitar teachers, basically.
Okay.
And then there's so much issues I want to sort out in my guitar playing as well, you know?
Okay, so you do still want to... I mean, the performance is something you...
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm
I don't know why I thought... I mean, you're keen on composition, are you? Aren't you?
Yeah. But looking at what the composition we did this year, you know...
Yeah, it's not
I didn't really learn that much, man. You know, I'll play you my composition I did. And that was just like me coming in with that know-how, you know. It's not like Vitz taught me anything how to compose. So my goal is to still compose, but compose outside of Vitz, you know.
Yeah.
And now I can compose what I want to compose, because at Vitz they tell you what to compose. So now I can just focus on jazz, you know.
Yes.
Focus on big band arranging. Focus on contemporary compositions, you know, like the Snappy Puppy type shit.
Yeah.
And I always will use them as a reference. But if I'm going to do composition next year, I must do a classical string quartet, which, I mean, it's nice, but I'll rather compose in the idiom that I prefer, you know.
Which is like modern jazz, basically.
Yeah.
Or is that how you would describe it?
With hip hop and soul,
Funk.
you know, blues.
I guess it's the modern fusion, basically.
But why I'm also choosing this route is because I can go sit in those classes, so I can still learn, but I won't produce portfolio.
Yeah.
You know, I won't write the exams, but I'll still try and get the education. Because it's like 3 hours a week, which I can sacrifice that to go sit in those classes to see if there's anything that I'm missing. Yeah. But I want to try and practice drums like 2 hours a day.
Really?
With guitar like 4 hours at least.
Every day, huh?
And if I'm just doing... Remember, there's no classes for performance.
Yeah.
And there's no classes for my research, for long essay.
Yeah.
So that's why I have that kind of time.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So whatever practice regiment, is that even a word?
Yeah, we'll
Sometimes
definitely...
Sometimes my English escapes me, but...
No, but yeah, we're gonna...
We can develop like a
Develop
roster so that I can know what to focus on.
Yeah.
Mix it up with like some technical...
Yeah.
Some repertoire, some rudiments.
I think maybe then the best thing for me to do would be to give you like a week's amount of work.
Yeah.
Even if I don't see you every week, but just break it up into weekly goals.
Okay.
You know. So I'm giving you all these PDFs of books, and because I have them obviously, I'll say, okay, this page of this book, this page of this book. There's just one more. And I'm just gonna give you some videos as well. Don't try take them too seriously. Like some technical DVDs. Just out of interest, if you like. Well, I just want to know like how deep this thing is. Just watch it, but don't just let it sit in your head and mull around. Don't try too hard, because that you can get bogged down trying to like learn a technique or something.
So I'm gonna see you again in the next 2 or so weeks.
Okay.
Well, in fact, 2 weeks from now, I'll be in the week. 2 weeks from now, the weekend, I'll be away. But Monday I should be back, so we can have a lesson 2 weeks from now, like a Tuesday or something.
Okay.
So for now, what do I do from now till then? I can use some of these PDFs that you're giving me.
From now till when did you say?
For the next 2 weeks.
For the next 2 weeks.
What do I practice?
Okay. Yeah, I'll think about that now. Okay, do you have any miles?
Yes. I've got Apple Music, so...
Okay, sick. Maybe I'll